तो हेलो बच्चों, क्या हाल चाल। टुडे वी आर गोइंग टू लर्न अबाउट basic structure of eye, that is anatomy of eye. So the things to understand about the basic structure of the eye is, we'll see what is eye and what are the structures behind that, and from what are the things or tissue the eye is made of. So now onwards, when we are going to see the structures of eye, we don't know anything, or we assume we don't know anything about the eye except the eye is present in the socket of orbit, right? So just we know the position of eye, where it is present, that is it is present in the socket of orbit. Now we are going to see what are the structures present inside the eye. So we'll go one by step by step, one by one. So the main things here to understand is, so the general concept to study the eye is, the basic way to study the structure of eye is, we'll see the what are the different coat of eye or different wall of eye. After understanding the wall of eye, what are the interior part of the eye and what are the chambers inside the eye. So let me draw the horizontal sections of eye and explain, and I will explain you how this structures of each eye is. So let me see, or let me explain. I am not very good in drawing this diagram, I don't. So what I have drawn here, so this is the first layer or first wall or the outer wall, and this outer wall, the outer wall is divided into two parts, that anterior more curved part and posterior slightly less curved, and the major part is posterior part and a small anterior part is there. So this is the outer coat. Later I will go in more detail of the outer coat of eyeball. So now the second things we have to see here is just whatever the coat or the wall of this outer coat. Next we will go for the inner coat. So for this explanation of this inner coat, so just let me draw first. So this is the inner coat, where from this is the inner this is the middle coat. This coat is also known as vascular coat or vascular wall, and this coat or this wall, posteriorly it is thin, and when this walls or coat moves anteriorly, it becomes thickened. And this thickened part is called ciliary body. This thickened part is called ciliary body, and this posterior part is called choroid. So choroid continue as ciliary body when it becomes thickened anteriorly. Now this anterior part of this ciliary body gives the attachment of one more structures, and this structures is called iris. So this together from iris, ciliary body and choroid, this total is called middle coat of eye or vascular coat of eye, or this is also given as one more terminology, that is uveal tract. So this is iris. So we have seen the outer coat. Now this is the middle coat, outer wall, and this is the second one is the black color one is middle wall. Now we are going to see the inner coat of eyeball or inner wall of eyeball. So I will just draw with some different color, that is I will draw with a red color better. So red color, so this is the inner wall, and this inner wall is the inner wall is a delicate membrane or delicate nervous tissue, and this layer or this coat is called retina, and this retina so this inner layer is called retina, right? So I'll just draw the retina, and this retina has in detail, when I am talking about this retina I will tell you in more detail, but as of now you understood this two concept on retina. Retina is made up of two groups of cells, one is epithelial cells, other one is neurosensory cells. So I will divide this retina into two parts. So why I am dividing this means the rods and cones inside a point, but the epithelial layer of retina continue further up to pupillary margins, right? So this is called the visual part of retina, where we can see this image formed, or we can see it through this part of the retina, and the part of the retina which cannot responsible for the formation of image, and that will be called as non-visual part of the retina. So some author believe that this is called a visual part and this is called non-visual part, or some author believe that retina terminates here, only the epithelial part, this is a part of just epithelium, it is not considered as a part of retina. So now let me just level it. What we have talked about this outer coat or outer layers of eyeball. So outer layer of eyeball, as I told you, the anterior more curved part. So out of this total 6, if we divide this outer coat or layers into 6 part, only one part, anterior one part, which is more curved, this is given a name, and this is a transparent structures, because light has to pass through this, right? So this is 1/6 part. Out of 6 part of outer coat, 1/6 part transparent medium, which is more curved anteriorly, this is called cornea. Next, out of 6 part, 1/6 part is cornea. So remaining 5/6 part will be posteriorly. 5/6 part outer coat or outer layer is given other name, and that is called sclera, right? So what we understood, outer coat or outer layer of eyeball is divided into 2 parts, that is cornea and sclera, and the main, according to their position, as it is positioned on the outer surface, it is made up of collagenous tissue and all, and it helps to protect the inner content of the eye. Just a simple functions. Anyway, we'll go more in detail, just we are studying the basic structures of eye. So just as a position, it is outer layer and it is made up of collagenous, and so it protects the inner content of eye. Now we move to the sequence, which is drawn as a black colored. So this is called vascular layer of eye, or it is also called middle layer of eye. So the main functions of this middle layer is called it provides the nutrition to the eye, because it is vascular in nature. It has several blood vessels. So the functions of, in one word, if you want to tell the functions of vascular layer of eye or middle layer of eye, that it provides nutrition to eyeball. It provides nutrition to eyeball. So now we are going to this second layer, and just level it. The posterior middle layer, which is just thin, yes, and this layer is called choroid, and which when it moves anteriorly, it becomes thickened, and this thickened structure is called, this thickened structures, whatever you are seeing for this black color, this thickened structure is called ciliary body. This thickened structure is called ciliary body. And at the anterior part of the ciliary body, at the base or the anterior part of the ciliary body, just a mid of this, it gives the attachment for one more structures, and this structure is called iris. Yes, this structure is called iris. And this together from this iris, ciliary body and choroid is called vascular coat, and another name is given for this three structures together is called uveal tract. So the uveal tract, the name is given as a tract because any infections, when it's either of these structures, when it infected, the infections can move from anterior to posterior or from posterior to anterior. That means once any infections which attacks on iris can move to ciliary body and choroid easily, or any infection which infect the choroid can move the through anterior, like it moves to anterior like through ciliary body and up to iris. So it becomes like a tract. So this name is given as a uveal tract. So just I will write here uveal tract. So now we are going for the inner structures, and inner structure is called retina, and it is a delicate membrane, and this membrane is made of nervous tissue in which there are different 10 layers, but as of now we just see in the temporal part we have a depressed region in the retina, and this has given a special name that is called fovea, or it is also called as macula lutea. And it has, as I told, retina has a multiple nerves or millions of nerves which connects each other, and these nerves pass posteriorly through a nerve that is called optic nerve. So this is called optic nerve, or it is also known as second cranial nerve. So it is cranial nerve secant. So this we have studied the three coat of eye. That first is outer, just revise it once. So outer coat, it is made up of, it is divided into two parts, that is sclera and cornea. Middle coat is, it is divided into three structures, from posterior to anterior it is choroid, ciliary body and iris. Inner structures or inner layer of eye, that is retina, and retina just I will label it. This is retina. Now just I will give the one word of functions for this inner layer. Retina helps in the formations of image, and all with the function I have told for the outer and inner layer. So this completes the structures of eye, or the walls of eye, or the layers of eye. So starting of my lectures I have told like the basic or the good way of studying the structures of eye is to study the layers of eye, and to study the interior part of eye, and to study the chambers inside the eye. So we have completed the one outline, that is layers of eyeball. So now we are going to move to some interior part of eyeball or interior structures of eyeball. Then we will go to slight review on chambers of eyeball. So just I will draw one the basic structures which is present just behind the iris, just posterior to iris, and these structures, I think all of you know this. This is called lens, and this lens in the eye is given a special name again, and this is called crystalline lens. So crystalline is a protein which forms this lens. So this name is given as crystalline lens, and this lens is kept in its position by a ligament. So this ligament is attached to a ciliary body, This ligament is attached to a ciliary body, and this ligament helps to make this lens to keep it on its position, or it helps to suspend the lens. So this lens is called this thread like structures is called suspensory ligament of lens, or other name is given as ciliary jonules. It is given as ciliary jonules, which attach to this ciliary body, right? And the structures or the aperture present between the iris is called pupil. It is just a space. There is no any structures actually, so there is just a space between at the center of iris, and this space is called pupil, right? So I think we have covered the interior part of eye, or interior structures of eye. So we have covered layers of eyeball, interior part of interior structures of eyeball. So now we are going to see the last outline, that is the chambers of eyeball. So there are few chambers. So first, to discuss the chambers, this eye totally from anterior to posterior, it's divided into two segments. That is, the few parts will be divided into anterior segments and few into posterior segments. So let me discuss the exact position from where this eye should be considered as anterior segment, and from where this structure should be considered as posterior segment. So the structures, whatever you are seeing up to here, just this lens, if you draw a line, so these structures, the structures which are present in the eye anterior to this lens, or this is the line, so this structures is called anterior segment. This is called anterior segment, and the structures or the part of eye which is present just posterior to this line, this is called posterior segment. So up to here what we have discussed, this is posterior segment. So let's just brief me the structures which are present in the anterior segment and the structures which are present in the posterior segments. So anterior segment, the structures are, I will just go from anterior to just more anterior, or posterior to anterior. So first is ciliary body, ciliary jonules, that is suspensory ligament, lens, iris and cornea. So these are the structures which present in the anterior segment. And then now see for the posterior segment. I hope you all of you know this posterior, this is if you go for this, here the few parts of sclera or anterior part of sclera is considered as a part of anterior segment, but the posterior part or major part of sclera is considered as part of posterior segment. Next, the choroid and the retina. So choroid and retina is considered as a part of posterior segment. Now I will move now the last outline, that is the chambers of eyeball. So now there is a space which is present inner to retina, the space present inner to retina and just posterior to this ciliary jonules and lens. So I will just draw this space. So this space is inner to retina and posterior to lens and suspensory ligament or ciliary jonules. So this space is called vitreous chamber, or this chamber is called vitreous chamber, and this chamber is filled with a fluid. It is not an empty space actually, it is filled with fluid, and this fluid is called vitreous humor. So this fluid, where I should draw this, I will just take it here. So this is called vitreous humor, right? Now, so vitreous humor is present in the posterior segment. You have to remember this. Now, this anterior segment, we have two two chambers or two regions or two area. One is the area of space which is present anterior to iris and posterior to cornea, this large regions, and other small regions which are present anterior to this suspensory ligament and lens, right? Anterior and posterior to iris, this small space, right? So this space is also filled with a fluid. This space is also filled with a fluid, and this fluid is called aqueous humor. So the space between iris and suspensory ligament, the space between iris and ciliary zonules, this is called posterior chamber. Although it is present in the anterior segment, but you have to remember this out of these two spaces, in the anterior segment there are two spaces or two regions, or there are two chambers. So one is anterior and other is posterior. So compared to two chambers, this lies posteriorly. So this is called posterior chamber. And the regions or area between cornea and iris, this area is called anterior chamber, right? So anterior chamber and posterior chamber is a part of anterior segment, and this it is filled with a fluid called aqueous humor, which provides the nutrition to this cornea as well as to lens, right? And lens is a structure which which refracts the light or focus the light on the retina, right? So this is just anatomy of retina. I will go in more functions or more detail in the next lectures.